Today, our practice, we will begin on our floor, resting on our bellies. So finding yourself in a comfortable position on your belly, perhaps bringing your arms up, bent at your elbows so that your head can rest on your hands or your forearms, and then noticing your right leg. We'll draw it up along the floor, bending at the knee, drawing your knee up somewhere in between your hips and your right shoulder. And while we're in this posture, we're going to just begin to become really interested in the patterns of our breath. Beginning to notice the sensations in your body every time you breathe in. And every time you let that breath go as you melt just a little bit closer towards the floor. We'll be here for just a little bit of time as we allow our bodies to really soften into that place of rest and digest, allowing our parasympathetic nervous system to really take note that we're in a safe shape. And as we continue to breathe, just expanding and opening through all the places that feel tight or sticky or stuck. And purposefully allowing ourselves to soften with the exhalations. We can become more familiar with the sensations that this shape provides. Allowing yourself to explore any modifications of this shape that you would like, perhaps bending in that long left leg, and then allowing the toes to come back down. And then when you're ready, allow your legs to come back together, long, head resting, still noticing your breath. Allow your feet to float up to the sky, bending in your knees, and then notice a gentle movement as you swivel your hips oh so slightly to the left and to the right. And as you do this, your feet will naturally begin to follow. This gentle windshield wiper movement from the hips and through the knees and the feet, just kind of softening through the back body before we begin to move to the other side. Making any adjustments that you would like here, settling in, noticing your breath, drawing that left knee up again along the left side of the body now, to the space in between the hips and the left shoulder, and softening into this new shape now on the opposite side. Noticing your breath. Maybe your heartbeat. And again, just noticing in this place of stillness, the softening of the body. And if it serves you, perhaps with that right leg, you bend at the right knee, bringing the right foot up to the sky, just allowing for a new sensation. This time along the right side of the body as your left knee remains where it is, and your mind remains focused on the steadiness and ease of your breath. Today we're focusing on our hips first, just to allow ourselves to really familiarize with the spaces between our feet, our hips, our shoulders, and how this all relates to how we show up in the world. When you're ready, press yourself up to hands and knees, and we'll change our position here to what's often referred to as a child's pose. It's a shape that is very childlike, and your knees can be wide, toes come close together as your heart space and shoulders soften towards the direction of the earth. Allow your arms to be long here. And as you soften with those exhalations, if you notice a little bit of space, if it serves you, you can bring your hands together, float the hands up towards the direction of the sky, and allow your arms and hands to rest softly at the back of your neck. As you breathe and let everything go, just be, without any holding tension, without any striving. Just surrender to your own breath. Take your time, slowly come to hands and knees, and we'll work our shoulders, inhaling that right arm open to the sky, this open arm twist, and then slowly begin to thread the right arm underneath your body. As you reach for the left side of the room, your right shoulder and your right cheek might melt down towards the earth, and if the ground is too far away, know that you can use a pillow here. And then coming back to that anchor of breath. Press through the left hand, inhale, open arm twist, right back up to the sky. That right hand reaches, and then lower the right hand down. We'll switch sides. Inhaling, open arm twist to the left, reach real long and strong. Slowly, steadily thread the left arm underneath your body as your left shoulder, left cheek and ear melt towards the earth. And then notice if you're holding any tension in your fingers. Drawing awareness there, giving them a wiggle, and then notice any tension from hips to shoulders, from hips to knees, knees to the bottoms of your feet. Just breathe. Slowing down so we can feel just a little bit more, cultivating this relationship with our mind, our body, and our breath. Press to that right hand, unwind. Breathe in as you lengthen long, reach for the sky with the left hand. Slowly lowering your left hand down. We'll move right into that child's-like pose and then swivel our hips right back up. So we're beginning this movement. So we're drawing an imaginary oval on the ground beneath us. You can even imagine perhaps a marker in your belly button. As you swim your hips down and up, then towards your hips, and then switching sides, reversing that oval. Maybe articulating just a little bit more through the hips and shoulders now that we've warmed up, going the first direction. And just notice all the sensations that you feel here through the back body, through your hips, shoulders, and spine. Let's walk our hands over to the right, off the edge of your mat if you have one, and really planting that left hand firmly into the earth. We'll notice a long stretch all the way from the left middle finger down through the left shoulder, through the left hip as our hips melt down towards the direction of the earth. So we're revisiting that child's pose-like shape, but this time with a side body stretch. Still breathing. With an in-breath, rise back up. Slowly and steadily walk your hands over to the left side now, as far as you can reach, and that right hand plants firmly into the earth. And notice now this beautiful length of energy, of stretch from that right middle finger, even that right pinky, through the right elbow, shoulder, hip, And then soften everything in your torso with those exhalations, inviting in breath, filling up all the spaces that might have tension or resistance with those in breaths, and then softening, surrendering with the out breaths. When you're ready, come back to that neutral spine, coming to this hands and knees space. We're going to step our right foot forward, and if you need to use your hand to grab your right ankle, you may, and then slowly rise up, bringing your hands to the right knee. An option here for those who like to use blocks, you can have blocks by your sides. I didn't have them handy for this particular video. They were on a different level and it's a house and I was already committed. So here I am with my hands on my right knee. Again, you can use whatever props you need. Then notice that space between the thighs. Notice your hips, your ribs and shoulders, your throat and the crown of your head. As you breathe, you soften everything with those exhalations and notice any tension that just begins to melt away. Taking this hip opener just a little bit more deeply now, we'll walk our hands down towards the direction of the earth. Again, an option here for those of you who'd like to use your blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, a nice, thick, secure, steady book is also helpful. Whatever helps you bring the ground closer to you. And then opening our hips just a little bit more, and perhaps it's even just a tiny millimeter, a centimeter, maybe it's inches. Allow the awareness to come to the blade side edge of our right foot as our right knee drops out to the side, almost like the shape of a butterfly. You can bring that knee back in, slowly bring your hands towards the right knee for support if you need it. And we're going to slowly, cautiously, mindfully step that right knee back and surrender again in our child's pose. Softening. The steady, grounded ease. This experience in ourselves, in our bodies, holds a space for us to remember that the most peace comes not from pushing into the resistance, but softening, letting all the tension go. We'll move to the left side now. Step the left foot up and forward in between your hands. So when you're ready and you feel stable, and if you have any differences between the right and left sides, just notice it. Again, you can use those blocks. You can bring your hands to your left knee. In this case, I'm holding onto my right side only because this is my weak side. But know that you can keep your hands on your knees, on your blocks, or perhaps even a chair or any sort of very steady furniture nearby, should you need it. Come back to connecting with your breath, even in the face of discomfort, making any adjustments, minor movements that you feel your body needs to allow for that softening. In these slow, steady holds, our body responds almost like taffy on a warm summer day. So we're moving very slowly here. And then notice the blade side edge of that left foot. And if it serves you, allow the left knee to butterfly open to the left side as you bring the weight to the left blade side edge of your left foot, only if it serves you. And again, this might be a millimeter, it might be centimeters, it might be inches. Find your breath. Calm, steady mind in the place and in the face of challenges, of difficulty, whatever that looks like. That difficulty could be a sensation, it could be a wandering mind, it could be emotions. Step that left knee back, find that child's pose again. Knees are wide, toes together. Softening all through the torso, through the belly, the chest, and shoulders. Let it all melt towards the direction of the floor in a hammock-like effect as you reach your arms way out to the space above your crown. Your forehead can rest upon the earth here. Just remember to breathe. Coming to that place to open our shoulders a little more by bending at your elbows, fingertips together, lifting your hands off the earth and bringing your hands to that space behind the back of your neck. Take your time. When you're ready to transition, slowly come up to hands and knees and then make your way right back down towards your belly, resting on the earth just as we began. A purposeful space of rest. A purposeful place of pause as you allow your body to come back together, as your nervous system assimilates the work that you did in these shapes. Bending at your knees, draw your feet to the sky and just notice your toes, bottoms of your feet, your ankles, knees, and hips. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Draw the arms down by your sides. We're going to work through the core here. Lift your arms up and away from the earth. Palms are reaching towards the sky. Legs are lifting. And again, this could be the tiniest of movements, a millimeter. It could be inches. It could be as high as you can lift. So the goal is to just notice your breath as you're taking all of this space and breathing into it, noticing the places of resistance. And then when you've had enough, you'll soften gently back down towards the earth. Coming back to child's pose. Taking your time as we've wrapped up our practice today, just these few simple movements. Moving to the space where you're resting on your back. Actually, we'll add another posture here. It's a new hip opener, so it opens the hips differently, works on your glutes, your hamstrings, and it's a figure four-like shape. So drawing your knees to the sky, cross the right ankle over the left knee, and then draw both sides of your knees towards the shoulders. And then slowly release the left foot down as you take your right foot and knee into your hands and gently sway side to side, maybe rocking forward and back. Again, just noticing the sensations through your body and how these movements relate to your breath. And we'll switch sides. So now the right knee was bent to place the left knee on it. In that figure four-like shape, threading your hands around the right leg, lengthening through the right leg. Opportunity to point and flex the toe a few times. And if you need to pause the video to catch up, you may. Releasing the ankle and knee, holding on, rocking side to side, just finding a little bit more movement here. When you're ready, we'll move to a place where our knees are bent, feet are on the ground, and we're going to bump our hips up. Breathing in with that uplift and holding this shape for just a few cycles of breath. As we explore this heart-opening space, this back bend, working through the glutes, our feet. Slowly breathe out, let your hips melt back down, and then draw your knees to chest, giving yourself a hug. Allow the bottoms of your feet to come together, and then allow your knees to melt open wide in this butterfly-like shape. So the posture, that lunge-like shape that we took earlier, was a gentle gateway to this particular posture, as were the others that followed. If you're feeling a little vulnerable here, you can place your right hand on your low belly and left hand on your heart. And if you notice that there's a lot of space between your knees and the earth, you can place a block or a blanket there, but let's move now to the gentle windshield wiper movements, this time alternating from left to right. Noticing the length from hips through your spine, shoulders, heart, back of your head, all the way to your crown. Breathing in, filling up, and softening with that out breath. If you'd like to incorporate a little occipital release tool before we melt into our final resting pose at Shavasana, I'll be placing this right at the base of our heads, right where our neck meets our heads. And as the tension releases, sometimes you can begin to move it down the neck just a little bit. So you'll find a space where this feels most comfortable, and I'll post the link for this tool in the comments. It's available on Amazon. And legs are long, body is long, arms can rest where they may, down by your sides or on your belly and heart. And place your hands to notice your heartbeat and your breath. Softening here once again, noticing any tension that needs to be released from your neck, your ears, your jaw, your cheeks. Maybe around your eyes, your nose. Making any adjustments you need to here to soften just a little bit more. Eyes are soft and closed. Allow your tongue to move around the roof of your mouth as you breathe, and then when you're ready, allow yourself to swallow. Pausing on purpose as we allow our nervous system to come to balance, to a place of homeostasis, and we'll move right into Shavasana, resting pose that we incorporate at the end of every yoga class. And if you've been following me for a while, you might notice that some of the classes will have this at the end and some won't. The ones that do not, it's mostly so you can end the video and take it in your own time. But with this slower flow, we'll just soften together through the ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, back up to your elbows and shoulders, your neck, and the crown of your head. Soften everything and just be. Allowing space for yourself for purposeful rest. Before we transition out of our practice. Allowing ourselves to hover in this space of not quite awake and not quite asleep, just being, resting. Imagine a warm beam of light resting right at the space between your brows. Filling your body with light, the color of your choice. Perhaps it's a white beam of light. When you're ready, straightening out through the body, arms overhead, lengthen long for a full body stretch, and then slowly draw your knees to chest to give yourself a hug. Get any movements here that feel good in your body before rolling over to the side of your choice, cradling your head and your arm, softening in this fetal-like shape. Again, a purposeful pause before we rise up. Pausing for gratitude for our practice. Pressing yourself up to a seat. Bringing yourself to prayer center, bowing to yourself.